And good afternoon, I'm Dan DeRose with 19 News, coming to you with another installment of a new segment here at Cleveland 19. We call it "And That from Someone Who Knows." We have journalists spending a lot of time on stories that when they air on television, you only get to see a short snippet of that interview. And sometimes these interviews can be powerful, they can be amusing, but you don't get to see them all. We change that here with the segment "From Someone Who Knows." It's a perspective on a story, and in any given week, it could be a tragedy, it could be an uplifting story, and that's what we have a little bit of this week. Everyone, of course, has heard the news of the passing of Pope Francis, a beloved figure in the Catholic Church, and in fact, I'm going to bring up a live picture here of the mourners. This is live from Vatican City. Look at the streaming line of people still trying to get in to pay their respects. The Pope's body is lying in state right there towards the left of your screen. You can see the wooden coffin with the red velvet around it. The Pope will lie in repose there until tomorrow afternoon, when a shroud will be put over his face. The casket will be closed so that they can get ready for the funeral on Saturday. And that brings us to our segment today, "From Someone Who Knows." There is a group of 6 St. Ignatius students, young men from here in Cleveland, and 2 staff, the president of St. Ignatius as well as the principal, that had a trip planned to Rome, and it had been planned for months. And to give you the backstory, you kind of have to know who this young man is. This is Carlo Acuzzi. He is a 15-year-old Italian young man who died in 2006. He had leukemia, but he had lived his life the Catholic way. He had even helped using his computer skills on some websites for the Academy at the Vatican. His life was deemed that perhaps he could someday be a saint. It was a move that was pushed for by the priest from his town in Milan. He went to a Jesuit high school in Milan, much like St. Ignatius is a Jesuit high school. So the process to make him a saint began in 2018. His body was exhumed. There was some prep work done. And then his body would lie in state at a church in Assisi. That's a town in about the central portion of Italy. Here is a picture of the young man lying in state in Assisi, Italy. And as his body was lying there, and people would come to pray to this young man who was on his way to sainthood. And within the thousands who came to this church to pray, 2 quote-unquote miracles were performed. A young man from, I believe it was Brazil, had a congenitive pancreas issue, and simply by praying at the body of this young man, he was healed. That was deemed the first miracle. In 2024, a young man who fell off his bicycle in Florence, Italy, on his way to school, he had a brain bleed. He was taken to pray at the body of Carlo Acutis, and he was magically cured. And that was deemed the second miracle. And for those in the Catholic Church, anyone to become a saint has to be accredited with 2 miracles. And that was the case with Carlo Acuzzi. Now, that gets us to the trip. The Pope was supposed to canonize. That is sort of the process of officially making this deceased 15-year-old a saint. He was supposed to canonize Akutsi this Sunday, but of course, the Pope passed away Monday, the Monday after Easter. That canonization got postponed, and that left the contingent from St. Ignatius sort of up in the air with their trip. They stayed in contact with the high school in Milan that Akutsi went to. That was going to be their first stop on their trip to Rome. They were going to head to Italy. They were going to his high school, because it's a Jesuit high school in Milan. From Milan, they were going to travel to Assisi to see the body and to pray next to Carlo. And then they were going to take the trip to Rome to see the Pope give the official canonization of Carlo Akutsi. When the plans changed, it was discovered on Tuesday of this week that the high school in Milan asked this contingent, and there were only 2 high schools in the United States sending very few young men to this process. There was St. Ignatius in Cleveland, of course, and then another Jesuit high school in New York City sending a small group of young men. So you can see the honor that was bestowed upon them, and then that honor became really now a historic trip. The high school and the young men coming from the United States were invited to attend the funeral of the Pope on Saturday morning. It's going to start at 4 a.m. our time. Keep in mind, we will be streaming on our digital properties the Pope's funeral at 4 a.m. so you'll be able to watch. Might still be in bed, be able to watch it from your phone, but we will be streaming that. So with that said, we did get a chance before they left Wednesday morning to interview 2 students and Father Raymond Guiao. He is the president of St. Ignatius. Really on their perspective of this trip and what awaits them, a chance at history. How many people, and you can put this at less than 1%, if not even further than that, will be able to say they have attended the funeral of a pope, the head of the Catholic Church. So with that in mind, I want to play you the entire interview from our 2 students and from Father Guiao from Wednesday before they headed out on this historic trip to Italy. And we will start with Father Guiao. Take a listen.
Well, originally we were to leave here today to go to Milan and then on to Rome to celebrate the canonization of Blessed Carlo Acutis. He was a young man who died at the tender age of 15, led a very holy life, and he was to be canonized as a saint, actually, this coming Sunday. However, with the turn of events, with the passing of Pope Francis this past weekend, things have changed, the itinerary has changed, and we will be there not for a canonization, but for the funeral mass of Pope Francis.
Okay, and what is going through your mind right now? I mean, you've been to Rome many times before, but nothing like this, right?
Yes, right. No, I've never been to anything like this. I have been to one other canonization, but I've never been to a papal funeral. These happen very, very rarely. So I'm very excited to be there to honor the memory of Pope Francis.
What are you expecting it to be like?
Well, I'm expecting it to be a little bit somber in tone, but I also expect that there will be a lot of joy. I expect that that joy will be reflective of what Pope Francis lived, the joy of the gospel.
Absolutely. Let's see. When you walk into the funeral, where will you guys be sitting? Do you know any of that?
Yes, right. We know none of the details of where we will be sitting. What we are anticipating is long lines, security lines, to get into Vatican City, to get into St. Peter's Square. Hundreds of thousands of people are expected to attend the papal funeral.
Yeah, what does this mean to you? I mean, you know, you practice all your life, and you preach to bring back the gospel to others.
Yes, this means a great deal to me, mainly because Pope Francis himself was a Jesuit. We share that heritage of Jesuit identity. He was an incredibly good man who touched many lives, many hearts the world over, those who professed the Catholic faith and even those who did not. He was a great man, and I'm honored to remember him right at his funeral.
It's amazing. What is so important to teach these young men here at St. Ignatius that are attending this trip?
Yeah, I think what's most important is the centrality of faith. When everything else falls away in our lives, it is faith that we must be grounded in, that we must always reach to. Faith is the groundwork of our lives.
Some important words there from Father Guiao. Again, he's the president of St. Ignatius High School and is leading that contingent to Rome on Saturday. Just an incredible opportunity to say that there will be a Northeast Ohio contingent in Rome. And again, we're going to give you a live look as the thousands and thousands of people continue to stream into St. Peter's Basilica there in Vatican City to pay their respects. We are going to take a 60-second break, but on the other side, we will hear from 2 of the 6 young men headed from St. Ignatius to the Pope's funeral, and we will be right back.
Vatican Media, English Channel.
And welcome back. You are looking live at St. Peter's Church in Vatican City, the Pope's body lying in state there. It's a little hard to see. It's pretty crowded. It's the Pope's coffin right there in the middle of the screen, the wooden coffin with the red felt. We know that world leaders from all over are headed. If they're not there already, they are on their way to Rome to participate and pay respects for the funeral that is starting on Saturday morning. In attendance will be President Donald Trump, world leaders, and also a contingent from Northeast Ohio, a group of 6 young men from St. Ignatius that just have sort of been extremely opportunistic to have this laid at their feet. This was a trip that had been in the works for months for a completely different reason, to watch the canonization of a young man who died at the age of 15. He would have been or will be the first millennial to be named a saint. And as that process has been postponed, the trip continues. And you're going to hear now from 2 students, very short interviews from St. Ignatius that are going to be making that trip. They're traveling as we speak. Joseph Revenue, he is a junior at St. Ignatius, and Jacob Klinecht is a sophomore. Give these young men a little credit here. Probably the first time they've been or ever been in front of a camera, first time they've ever been interviewed for something like this, and the gravity of the situation and where they are headed still sinking in. Let's take a look first at our interview with Joseph.
I mean, I'm feeling good about the trip. I like traveling. I don't like the traveling part of traveling, of actually getting there.
How did you get involved in this trip?
They asked campus ministry and the administration who's a good candidate, who would really enjoy the trip, and I got chosen. So.
Awesome. Are you, when you talk about your faith and you talk about being able to do this, how does it make you feel?
I mean, I don't know, because faith isn't really about a feeling, it's about a choice, It's you choose to love Jesus, follow his commandments, but it's, in terms of feeling, yeah, a lot of times there's like compassion, but not crazy.
Yeah, when you go to the funeral, what do you think you're going to feel, see, observe? I think
it's going to be pretty breathtaking with how many people are going to be there. I couldn't even give an estimate, but there's just going to be so many people there, and who knows what important people I'll see, or like world leaders or something, but I think it'll be pretty interesting.
Yeah, when you go from, you were going to see a person become a saint, and now you're going to see the Pope's funeral. pretty both great things, but
yeah.
What was your initial reaction to this?
To the Pope dying?
Or just in being able to now go to the funeral?
At first I was like, well, it kind of sucks we're not going to the canonization, and the Pope just died. But I'm still excited because we're going. It's an even rarer event to go to the Pope's funeral, and especially a Pope that people have so many different opinions on, and anything that's present day is the talk of the day.
Again, Joseph Revenue, he's a junior at St. Ignatius, putting into words as best he can about this historic adventure that he and his classmates are headed on. Now we'll hear from Jacob Klinecht, a sophomore at St. Ignatius, even younger, making this trip, and what he is anticipating. Take a listen.
Yeah, so we're heading out towards Italy for this next week here. We're traveling out to Milan to meet up with fellow Jesuit high school students, and then we're going to travel down to see Pope Francis as he's laid to rest in Rome. Should be a good time.
Yeah, this was a very unexpected visit to go see the funeral. What are you thinking right now?
Yeah, we originally were out there for the canonization of Carlos Acutis. He was going to be the millennial saint, and then when they postponed that, we weren't quite sure what we were going to do, but this is still a great opportunity to be with our fellow brothers and sisters in Christ, so it'll be a great time.
What are you expecting?
I think it's going to be crowded. There was going to be, I think people said there was going to be 80,000 teenagers alone showing up, so I think we'll have a large youth crowd along with everyone else traveling. And
okay, great. How are you feeling? Like, what are your parents saying? What are your family and friends saying?
Yeah, with Pope Francis dying, that was unfortunate, and it was unexpected for most of us. But hopefully with this new conclave coming up, that we'll have a continued to have a good church.
Yeah. What will be very interesting for you to be able to see? Like, what are you looking forward to when you go to the funeral?
Yeah. So some things I like to look at. I'm a big architecture guy. History is I'm a history buff, so I'll be looking at the old buildings that they got in the area, 1100s. That'll be interesting, and just all the cardinals and clergy that will be there will be interesting.
Okay. Anything else you want to say?
Just happy to be able to go on this trip here. So.
Yeah. When you hear a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, what does that mean?
Yeah. So. I feel pretty blessed to be able to come out to this. Not a whole lot of people were able to come. There's only 6 of us that are being able to go from Cleveland. The fact that there's only 2 groups from the U.S. that's actually going out, I think I'm very appreciative of it and feel pretty blessed to be able to go.
And how were you selected?
Through recommendations from our campus ministry program we have on campus. They'd be like, hey, this guy's a good fit, so that's kind of how I got selected.
Again, the words there from Jacob Klinek. He is on his way to Rome, to Vatican City, with that contingent from St. Ignatius. Another live look at the thousands who continue to stream in, spend a short time to pay their respects to Pope Francis. We will have continuing coverage of the Pope's services. It will begin at 4 a.m. Saturday. That's 4 a.m. our time. So we will be streaming the Pope's funeral at cleveland19.com and on the Cleveland 19 app. So for the young men from St. Ignatius who will represent Northeast Ohio at that funeral, we say, and that is from someone who knows.